Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 106-104 loss to the Boston Celtics. And folks, I'm saying it from the jump, if this stream randomly cuts out, there's an insane snowstorm happening out here in St. John's that might take the power. The lights are flickering, but we got through the Raptors game. I'm hoping to be able to get through this stream, but the Toronto Raptors, as per usual, as of late at least, they weren't able to get through the whole game in terms of providing a performance that could get the Toronto Raptors the W. Now, I know a lot of people are riding that tank, riding that wave, blowing those kazoos, for a tank. Kenneth, I actually tried to get the tank animation done today. I couldn't get it done, so we're still rocking with the old Tampa tank. But, the Toronto Raptors, they were up big in this game, or they were up for stretches in this game against the Boston Celtics. No drastically, but there were points where it looked like the Raptors had this game solidly in hand, and unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done. And I know a lot of fans at this point are sort of rooting against the Toronto Raptors in terms of winning these games, getting these Ws in hopes of landing a Victor Wembanyama, but I'm still rooting for the wins, at least for now. Ahead of the trade deadline, until the trade deadline happens, my heart and soul is still rooting for the Toronto Raptors to win these games, and they're coming out. They're coming out in these performances with the ethical tank, right? They're not coming out and looking like the Charlotte Hornets. We're not out here trying to be like the Houston Rockets and purposely selling games, running guys like Justin Patton in our starting lineup and being down 30 pieces. No, the Toronto Raptors give every single fan their money's worth, making a adrenaline filling, right, intensely emotionally stimulating game throughout, and then at the end they never fail to just somehow sell it. And the last 2-3 minutes of this game, it was very winnable. It was without a doubt very winnable, but you lose the game, but you win the battle, or you win the war for Victor Wembanyama. We'll see how it all plays out, but man, this is, let's just start. Let's just dive into that fourth quarter. But before we do, also, we're really close to 27,000 subscribers. So if you're watching the vid, you've been watching all the videos I've been putting out, all the live streams, and you're not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button. Make that push for 27K. Appreciate that. But let's dive down for the chat is out here roasting Nick Nurse, roasting the end of the game because, the Raptors, it was an art tonight to the ethical tank, right? There were moments where clearly we could have gotten the W, and I would have loved to seen a win. I know, every loss counts in the quest for Victor, but, beating the Boston Celtics, those division rivals, they knocked us out in the playoffs. They've gotten the best of us as of late, at least in recent years. So any win we can get over Boston, whether we're rooting for the tank or not, it's a good feeling for Raptors fans. I was screaming at my screen to get some W's out here for the Raptors tonight, but the Celtics, they were up. The Raptors had a lead in the fourth quarter, and then the Celtics just came down and started raining down threes. And this is not if you go to Basketball Reference, if you go to actually looking at box scores, it probably won't validate this, but in fact, Peyton Pritchard has never missed a three-point shot against the Toronto Raptors. That's an actual stat that I'm pulling straight out of my head because this guy just, he's out of the rotation for the Boston Celtics right now. Since they've added Malcolm Brogdon to their lineup, right? Marcus Smart, who went down with injury. Hopefully he recovers quickly, just like OG. We'll talk about the injuries later on in this one. But Peyton Pritchard went absolutely nuclear, filling in for Marcus Smart there in the fourth quarter, right? If you look at his stats for this one, they were absolutely crazy. Right off the bench, only 12 points, but hit 4 threes. It felt like they were all as of late. But, he was hitting threes. Grant Williams was blowing by our defenders at the end. But the Raptors looked engaged. They were energetic. We were getting big nights from Gary Trent Jr. Big nights from Pascal Siakam. Hitting clutch shots. Going head-to-head, shot for shot with one of the best teams in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. Obviously without Jason Tatum. People that didn't watch the game or didn't see, Tatum was out with injury, speculating rest, given every single team seems to rest their stars against the Toronto Raptors at this point. But the Raptors, they had their moments. They had their battles, right? And for the tanking fans, they're up in their trade value for this February deadline. But things were coming down to the wire. Gary Trent Jr. hitting back-to-back threes. Pascal Siakam driving in the lane. We had a moment. I'll throw it out. I'll give a little award out. The spicy Pele of the day, right? A ferocious swat by Pascal Siakam down there in the lane. I believe it was on Al Horford, making him look like his son, right? He's out here doing his thing against the Boston Celtics. But then the last 2 minutes, when I'm seeing a lot of the chat roasting the Raptors about once we entered this live stream, it all fell apart. It all got ugly there for the Toronto Raptors. We had a play. Gary Trent Jr., the star boy, was looking like the star boy in tonight's outing. Tonight, again, I said, hit some threes. We'll dive in the box score after, but had a drive, had a gorgeous take, a gorgeous move. And this is why I want the ball in Gary Trent Jr.'s hands to close games if we're trying to win. If we're not trying to go on the quest for Victor Wembanyama, if we want to get some wins. I feel like Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes should be the two guys creating shots. OG can take them, right? OG, I feel confidence in knocking down the open shots. Even Pascal, right, can knock down a few open ones. But in terms of creating, Gary, I just trust with his handle and all that sort of stuff. And got to the rim. Got right to the basket, and unfortunately sold. Al Horford was there, so I won't say it's an open layup, but a very minimally covered layup. That's how I'll describe it. The Starboy, couldn't put a cap on the game, and I believe it would have made it tied or would have brought the Raptors really close. But then Gary Trent Jr. said, sure, I missed the layup. Unfortunate, improbable, but I'm not trying to lose this game. I'm not about the tank. I'm not about the Wembanyama stuff. And he ends up, the Raptors, they go aggressive on defense. Gary Trent Jr. and the Raptors get a little trap. They steal the basketball back. Grant Williams goes down with an apparent injury. I'm not sure if he returned to the game, but he was down on the ground, right? He's lying down, grabbing his stomach or whatever. And then Nick Nurse said, folks, we can't tie up this game. We might actually win if we tie up this game. And then flashbacks to Game 5 of the NBA Finals in 2019. Nick Nurse calls one of the wildest timeouts I've ever seen. The Raptors have 3 guys, a 4-on-2 sort of fast break opportunity, down the stretch in this one. And to be fair, it was a hectic possession. There was a lot going on. Maybe we wouldn't have scored. But Nick Nurse just randomly calls timeout when the Raptors have a man advantage on a fast break sort of play. One of the guys back for the Celtics is lying down there on the ground recovering for injury, but Nurse says no. We need a timeout. We need to settle things down, folks. We might actually get this W. Right? I know we're trying to ethically tank. I know we're trying to make this a game, right? Make it exciting, but we can't actually win, folks. We can't win this game. And then, Nick Nurse draws up a play. Sure, it was effective. It almost ended up in a backcourt violation for Pascal Siakam. So that was a tough one. And we'll talk about that timeout, G. Don't worry about that. But this one was a different play. This was him calling timeout because the game was getting too hectic. And then Pascal Siakam runs down the lane, gets blocked by Al Horford. That's when the jump balls happen. And this one I'm not blaming on Nick Nurse. I'm blaming it on those old referees because that drive occurred right after the timeout that Nick Nurse abruptly called. It got Pascal a take. It might have been close to a backcourt violation, but, he got a full head of steam driving in against Al Horford, and then it looked like a foul. It looked like a foul on Al Horford. He got him early, like it was a block early, and then he got all arm, but, so you'd expect, right, because a jump ball was called, you'd expect to be able to challenge, right, a dead ball, right? You'd expect to say, okay, if the whistle's blown, we should be able to review that play and see if it was actually a foul or not. But, somewhere deep into the textbooks, these NBA ref nerds out here are saying to Nick Nurse, no, one, you can't challenge that play. You are unable to check, if a guy that was hacked going in for a shot, you were unable to check if that was actually a foul. That's the first thing they said. And because you egregiously called this timeout once again on this jump ball, or you were asking for a challenge, we are forcing you. We are saying, the Raptors timeout here, using up our last timeout. And then, obviously, Pascal Siakam, smaller than Al Horford, lost the jump. Scotty Barnes out here hustling, doing his thing, right? Gets the sort of, recovers the ball, but ends up in a, grappling battle again with Al Horford. And then he didn't really have a shot to win that jump ball against Al Horford. And then the Celtics get the basketball. But, the Raptors down 2. They're not out of it yet, right? they have to play the foul game and all this sort of stuff. The Celtics end up getting the basketball in the front court, right? They get a little inbounds. They get an opportunity to sort of get to the free throw line. We're hoping for missed free throws, but no. Gary Trent Jr., the star boy, doing more star boy plays, right? Doing his thing out there, right? Not Nick Nurse. So Gary Trent Jr., Nick Nurse taking offensive fouls, but, he's playing hard deny defense. And then Grant Williams, in frustration and just, somehow exuding all that strength. I'm hitting my microphone, right? I'm trying to emulate my own Grant Williams out here, flexing on buys, right? Shoves Gary Trent Jr. out of the way. Offensive foul. But the Toronto Raptors, unfortunately, can't advance the ball because those silly referees forced Nick Nurse to use his timeout on the possession prior, right? And we have to inbound the ball into the front court. And then, rather than giving it to our point forward, Scotty Barnes, who we know can be fast, can get up the lane, the Giannis comparisons are there. He can get up the court in 3 or 4 steps, right? Let's not give it to Scotty Barnes. Let's not give it to the guy that's been hitting game winners when he's given opportunities at the end of games. I know he sold the layup, but Gary Trent Jr. can create you an open shot. Probably our best shot creator when the defensive pressure's on. Let's not give it to him. Let's once again give it to Pascal Siakam. Not really in a position to with 3 seconds left. Ball's in the front court. The ball shouldn't be in Pascal Siakam's hand in that sort of situation. But no, he drives, with a double team sort of attacking him at the half line. Fumbles the basketball, turns it over. Game, set, match for the Toronto Raptors, for the Boston Celtics over the Toronto Raptors, and we take that. We take the L. Just an unfortunate series of events. I'm just throwing the entire OG's play of the day to the end of that game, but the Toronto Raptors, they made it exciting. I got my dopamine hit watching this game. The energy was in, and I was hoping. I was ready out here. I don't care our record. Whenever we beat the Boston Celtics, we usually get a few of those salty Celtics fans out here in the chat. I haven't even been able to read it. I've been in too much of a rant for this late game and stuff. But I like roasting Celtics fans. We end up getting the W. But you lose the game, you win the battle in the quest for Victor Wembanyama. So you can't blame it there on that front. As Jason Watson saying, a great tank show. It's a tough go. It's a tough go. And letting your best player shoot the last shot was not the issue tonight. No, I just broke down the whole issue. Situational stuff, things inside the Raptors' control and not, but there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that affected the Toronto Raptors in this game tonight, and a big part of it is our just inability to guard the three-point shot, right? Like, we just go through stretches where we give up 3 after 3 after 3. If you look at the Celtics box score in this one, once again, letting a team shoot over 45% from the three-point line is extremely unsustainable. So that's just unfortunate there for the Raptors, but we did have some big nights. We did have some big nights for our Toronto Raptors guys, right? Pascal, 29 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. I was hoping he's going to get that extra rebound for the triple-double. Overall, played a solid game, even if I don't think he should have been the guy that should be dribbling through a full-court press in order to get yourself a game winner, right? Pascal had a solid outing in this one, right? OG was playing well early on in this game. Then he ended up going down with an ankle injury, so prayers up to OG Anunoby for a quick recovery, because the last thing we want to see is OG Anunoby go down, miss some time. When he went down with the injury, it was initially said that he'd be able to return to the game, and then they said, nah, we're not going to risk this at this point. So, hopefully that means he's not going to be out for a little bit of a while, but we'll see what ends up occurring for the Toronto Raptors there with OG Anunoby. But I'm pressing the wrong buttons out here. Scotty Barnes, I thought could have been more aggressive when he was driving the lanes. He was doing his thing out there in the lane, right? Casey leaked the playbook. That's wild. But Gary Trent Jr. again. I said he had a solid game. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks, and 3 assists. Overall, doing it in the other areas for Gary Trent Jr. You love to see it. Tom M is saying the Raptors are a 3-quarter team, right? They're a team that's out here trying to do their best tank, right? They give you that excitement. They give you that rush. Masai Ujiri says, we're not doing what we did in Tampa, where we have ugly losses night in, night out. Raptors fans, they are paying to get a ticket, right? They are paying to get a seat. They're showing up and they're getting a fun game. They're watching their favorite players go off, but we're not gonna win, but we'll make it exciting. But one player I do want to give a lot of credit to, stepping in with Fred VanVleet being out with injury. He was a late scratch for this game, but Precious Achiuwa, the propaganda is back. The propaganda is back. The Precious propaganda. And he's better than Bam, he's better than Giannis, or he's the next Giannis, whatever quotes we have throwing by the day. But I thought Precious Achiuwa had a really, really solid outing in tonight's performance, as, you know, getting the start tonight at the center position for the Raptors. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 assists. Their defense looks a lot better with Precious Achiuwa out there on the court. Again, the Celtics are a very strong team. They're a squad that's tough to really get a W against, but Precious Achiuwa seems to be a mobile, switchable defender. He's a perfect integration in Nick Nurse's defensive systems. You know, he gets your rebounds. He does really everything the Toronto Raptors need. So it's really great to see him back into the lineup, back into Nick Nurse's trust, not being tied up into the Nick Nursery, not getting any run. But one guy that was released from the Nick Nursery tonight was Chatty Thaddeus Young, who again, I thought had a really solid performance in tonight's game. A dude that has been in and out of the lineup for the Raptors over the course of this season. And some nights he doesn't get any minutes, but some nights, especially when you're trying to win games, he, I don't know, given the end we're trying to win, but had 8 points, 3 rebounds. It'd be nice if he could space the floor a little bit more, but again, having some solid possessions out there. Chris Boucher, taken out of the doghouse a little bit. He's gotten a few DNPs as of late. You know, 6 points. And this one, Malachi Flynn, without Fred VanVleet, only getting 5 minutes of run in this game. And then Juancho Hernangomez, 10 minutes, 0 shots. Again, I don't know what the cruise missile is out here doing, right? I know he's a fun guy to have because he's a movie star. Seems like a fun dude to have in the locker room, but he is doing absolutely nothing out there. You know, we gave him praise for his ability to rebound and defend earlier on this season, but we said the 3-point shot needs to come back if we want him getting consistent minutes in the rotation. And now it seems like even the defense, Grant Williams is blowing by him, right? All the wings in the Boston Celtics are just getting around him with ease. So it's tough. And Bo Cruz into more lottery balls. The Raptors group is missing the dog in the GROAT, Kyle Lowry. Shout out to Race Mode Daily, love that. But yeah, it's we're cruising to the Wembanyama train. You know, Scoot, he's out here posting stories on Raptors 905ers. I believe he posted a story on Gabe Brown, a dude that I know a lot of Raptors fans were hoping to see and stuff. But you know, it's what's it called? We're on that tank. But another golden kazoo I wanted to sort of give out here, and you know, LJ Big Bull who's saying exactly what I'm thinking, exactly what's on my mind. But Nick Nurse, you know, I'm not gonna completely kazoo him for the end performance, for the end of the game, but why isn't Joe Wieskamp getting some run, folks? He hit 3 of 3 3-point shots in last night's outing. He came out and was the highest plus minus. I know plus minuses aren't the greatest indicator in terms of performance, in terms of doing, you know, basketball excellence in single games. It's a pretty good indicator over the course of a season, but in just one game, it can get extrapolated. It's very situational and stuff. But I thought from the eye test, he played good. He spaced the floor for guys like Siakam, guys like Scotty, guys like OG when they're out there not hurt. And I was surprised, especially with Fred VanVleet being out with injury, that Wieskamp didn't get an opportunity after the, you know, big performance that he had playing. So that's something. Let me know in the chat. Would you guys have liked to see Wieskamp get some opportunity? Throw a W in there for Wieskamp. Throw an L in there for no to Wieskamp, whatever's happening. It's prime time to saying stop talking trading Siakam. It's so stupid. Completely agree. I don't think we should trade Siakam. I've made the prediction that we should not trade Pascal Siakam. I don't think he or Fred VanVleet will be traded, even though a report came out today that either Fred or Gary will likely be moved ahead of this year's trade deadline. So that's some madness. But if you guys want to make some predictions regarding this year's trade deadline, definitely check out the CoolBet app. Their sportsbook regulated in Ontario. They're available all across Canada. And they got custom odds just for you that are interested in all the craziest trades, all the craziest trade scenarios. as they have odds in terms of what players, where Gary will be, where Pascal will be, where OG Anunoby will be, where Fred VanVleet will be following this year's trade deadline. And you can use those odds using the Coolbet app, using the link down below to sign up and put your money where your mouth is in terms of who you think will get traded, what players you think will end up getting moved, because we know the trades are coming. Given all of the smoke, where there's fire, right? We heard a month ago that fireworks could end up occurring for the Toronto Raptors. And as we play more balloons, as we celebrate more tanking losses, we get closer and closer to a big deal happen. Not that we want any of our top guys to get dealt, not that we want any of our players to actually get moved from the Toronto Raptors, but we want to see some wins. And the vibe around this team, even though they looked pretty solid out there tonight, with exception maybe the end of the game, right? This roster could definitely use a shakeup. So I'm thinking moves are going to end up being made, so it's a trade for Trae Young. We'll see what ends up happening in this one, but I didn't see a lot of W's or L's out there for Joe Wieskamp. Maybe it's just a nothing factor. Maybe people weren't watching the other night where Wieskamp ended up hitting some threes, but if he's on a 10-day contract, let this man get some run, get some opportunity, and if you're going to play Malachi Flynn only 5 minutes, give that run to none other than Jeff Doughton Jr. I'm on the Jeff Doughton Jr. bandwagon. Give this man an opportunity. He deserves it. He's been playing well when he gets his opportunity, so there's all of that stuff happening. But I'm seeing a lot of names get thrown out there in the chat in terms of guys that we want to see. But Ronaldo is saying trade Fred VanVleet for Miles Turner. No way the Pacers, I'd say the Pacers would accept it, but just doesn't really make sense as they have, They have Tyrese Halliburton on their roster, TJ McConnell, if I could speak properly. They have a lot of guards, so I don't know why they'd want Fred VanVleet. But let the Raptor pain train continue, says Lumpy Rex. This team needs some rain. We need to rain down some French rain. La pluie. Right? Il fait pluie. Rain and L's for the Toronto Raptors for Victor Wembanyama. Bring him home. Il vient à Toronto. Right? Je peux pas beaucoup de la français quand Victor Wembanyama arrive à Toronto. That's what we're gonna have. We're gonna speak French. I'm learning it to acquire Victor Wembanyama. But David W saying I didn't think I'd find an equivalent to what SDPN YouTube channel has via its Game Over Canadian NHL teams. But here I am with the de facto Game Over Raptors stream. David W, welcome to the Toronto Raptors Digest, baby. If you're looking for Leafs content too, check out Leafs Digest. That's a spot that we got going there. But trade OG Anunoby to the Blazers for Nasir Little and Josh Hart. No way, Jose Top Dog. If we're trading with the Blazers, I want Shaedon Sharpe or bust. And a pick. None of these handouts to the Portland Trail Blazers. I know Dame is loyal. I know I'm a fan of that squad. We're not giving out OG for nothing. But we should draft Ben Rodgers. Let's make it happen. You know, I'm out here trying to get my shot back. I sold the first half of the game last night, but ended up hitting some shots last night. But no easy threesy wheezy tonight. So sad. Gonna have to get an easy threesy wheezy, a wheezy, a squeegee, whatever. Well, not squeegee water. But I got to get a Joe Wieskamp animation if he ends up staying on the roster. But Jamaica gonna have an NBA team called the Jamaican Manguis. I don't know what that is. But Ben Rodgers signed as a system GM upon picking up Victor Wembanyama. Let's go. You know, I'd take it, baby. I'd take it. I just gotta send those old trade videos we used to do in 2017, 2018 that YouTube didn't like. Or, well, it got views, but people did not like our wild trade scenarios back in the day. Now I sort of just roast Bleacher Report trades at this point, but I was nice on what was it, the association mode, 2K13-14. I'd be building some rosters and all that sort of stuff. But the Raptors won't get Victor Wembanyama. We'll probably get a top 10-15 pick if we tank. A lot of the teams below us are worse than us. And Zay's view, don't underestimate what the Toronto Raptors can do with the power of the tank, with the power of Baines. Channel that energy. That's what we want to see. So PJX saying the tanking has begun. Yes, it's the L's are piling up. The L's are popping up behind us, and it's just how it's been. It's just how it's going. right? Like, I'm out here still rooting. I'm actively rooting for this team to get some wins, right? Especially against teams like the Boston Celtics. I want us to beat our rivals, but if we do lose, I'm done being depressed. I'm done being sad. I'm high energy on these podcasts. We're not taking some L's there. But Victor Wembanyama will be a Raptor. That's what's happening. Shaedon Sharpe is going to be a superstar. He's already better dunker than Vince Carter. Let's go, top dog. That's what I want to see. Any Blazers trades, bring back Shaedon Sharpe. But Jake Paul, meditation saying, yo, Ben, you are famous. We're in my hood. You know, we out here on the Raptors Digest. Appreciate you. But Joe Wieskamp is Joe cool. You love to see it. I love that, Gio. But Ronaldo 2K say Ben Rodgers to the number 1 pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Let's go. Maybe a 2023 Newfoundland Men's League draft. But I don't know if I'm going number 1 in that. But I can pass, folks. I can pass. You know, shoot some threes very inconsistently. But when I'm hot, I'm hot. You know, I can pass. I can definitely out here lead a tanking Raptors. That's what I'm saying. But Masai, I need 2 more first-round picks, man. 3 of the 3 top 15 picks. I'm feeling good. Yeah, still a real one. You know, I know you've been riding that tank wave. Get some draft capital. Let's see what's happening. But Simmons and Grant and Sharp for OG and Siakam. Siakam involved too. I need picks. Right? The New Orleans Pelicans, they got some assets I think we could get back for trading Siakam. But I don't know. Giving up Siakam and OG would really hurt my heart. But I like where your head's at in terms of return, especially if there's more picks involved. But I don't know. Probably want some more for OG and Siakam, given what's happening out there. But go Wizards. Go Kenneth Lau. Oh, yeah, get some wins, Washington, so we stay ahead of them. Raptors fans want Andrea Bargnani. Hey, he was a number 1 pick. A European shooting big man? Is Victor Wembanyama the next Andrea Bargnani? Let me know, chat. Let me know if that's what's happening. Logan says he wants Scoot over Wembanyama. I apologize if I'm missing some shots. Zay's view saying you'll want Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be Andrea Bargnani. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. But man, Jake Paul saying I'm a celebrity. Jake Paul meditation. You know, Drake and J. Cole 10-day contracts. Let's get J. Cole on a 10-day contract. He's already playing professional ball in Ontario, so he's ready to go. Magic Hands saying this roster sucks. It's unfortunate. I think we got some talent, but the construction, the vibes just definitely aren't there at this point. But Raptors can trade up into the top 10 if they land outside of it. Potentially, yeah. Well, you know, we do have the talent to potentially make one of those moves, so we could see what ends up happening. But, you know, must trade. Raptors must trade OG and get back CJ Miles. Let's get CJ's PJs back on the roster. But still real one saying somebody from Quebec shaking their heads at Ben's French right there. Mon français, c'est très beau. Très bien. I promised someone like a year ago that I was going to make a full progress and a full podcast in French at some point, but it's definitely not going to happen. You know, we got a Habs digest, so maybe je dois apprendre plus de le français si je parle sur le I can't even speak French. Tank for Wembanyama saying unsubscribing for the blasphemy you just said about Victor and Andrea. Hey, I'm memeing out there, Tank for Wembanyama. Get out of here with that unsubscribe. We're so close to 27K. What's happening? But you know, Bull and Cole Anthony for Fred. Logan's out here with interesting trades. I would love Bull on this roster. Victor Wembanyama insurance, just in case we don't land him. But you know, we got some wild stuff. Mobley and Love for Siakam and a protected 2024 pick. You know, I don't think the Raptors can get Evan Mobley, regardless of what we offer, because we just trashed on the guy so much as a fan base last season. He's no Scotty Barnes. You know, how many Scotty Barnes awards has Evan Mobley won? 0. So, you know, that's the unfortunate thing for him. Scotty Barnes obviously won it tonight. Even when I don't give it out in the post-game reaction, Scotty Barnes won that award, unless said otherwise. There's a couple times this season where he didn't get it. Early on, when he wasn't playing up to his usual expectations, but, you know, it was, it's what's happening. And Barnes' controller unplugged during the jump ball. And honestly, those jump balls are hard, man. Now, I'm 5'7", so I probably never never actually done a legitimate jump ball. You know, sometimes they meme it and say, hey, guards, go out there, get the jump. You know, you guys run it, the two small guys out there on the court. It's hard to time that thing. And the referees, it's hard to throw it. You know, so I don't blame it. I'll never criticize someone's ability to do a jump ball. That's my one thing. I've gotten I refed a few games as a kid and stuff, and trying throwing that jump ball, I just embarrassed myself out there. And I pride myself on being a passer. I feel like I should be able to throw that. You know, it's like a LeBron James powder toss, but you know, it isn't what's happening. But Fred VanVleet and Ken Burch for DeAndre Ayton, I'd accept that deal. You know, as people say, Fred VanVleet is my lover. That's what people say in the comment section. But it's I'd take DeAndre Ayton, even though he's kind of having a down year. But Dave W saying that I see the Raps as being sellers during the upcoming NBA trade deadline, barring significant turnaround. That appears at this point very unlikely. Yeah. Every single loss indicates that we're more and more likely to be sellers. I just hope we don't sell for nothing. Right? That's my one hope out here. But we should only do business with trash teams for those top picks. Fair. Agree, Soldier. Or at least future, you know, teams that might be good now, but future picks or something like that. But Toronto must really suck. Not even Kawhi wanted to stay after getting the chip. Yo, he wanted to go home. But you looking like you 7 feet. Roger that. That's my old SoundCloud name. I was a 14-year-old SoundCloud rapper putting it out. Riker and I used to put out some meme mixtapes. But, you know, 5'7". What is it? I play like I'm 7'5". Yeah, I play like Magic Johnson out there. But, Jams, here comes hot. What are you saying, Kuda from Mars? I don't know what's happening here. But Raptors should just look to improve the roster for next season. Yeah, or get some picks, look for the future. It's fair. But I feel sorry for the Anunoby trade. We will feel sorry. Agreed. An OG deal would be very, very sad. But if we get a proper return, then that's cool. Wieskamp will get cut, according to Jason Troy. You know, if he's not getting minutes, sucks. But he's a guy that's shooting. You know, give him more opportunities, Nick Nurse, man. Come on. I want to see him get some run. But L-Tricks are saying, what about Nickeil Alexander-Walker as a minor trade? Do you think the Canadian kid has any value? Maybe GTJ for NAW and a pick. I don't know if I'm giving up Gary Trent Jr. for NAW. He was kind of just a throw in a bunch of deals last season, so you can probably get him for cheaper. But I think he's still a really good player. He's shown flashes of being a really, really solid dude in the NBA. So if we do go in that rebuilding direction, could be a nice guy to take a flyer on. You know, Josh Goody ran into him at a bar or something in Toronto. So apparently he was a really nice guy. Love to see that. So, and apparently he knew about the Raptors Digest. So, let's go, NAW. But who's better, the Raptors or the Blazers? You know, it's tough. I'm a fan of, I'm a biased Toronto Raptors fan. I'd want to say us, but the way we're playing right now, I think on paper we just have a lot of talent. Like, I like the Raptors' future ahead of the Blazers, even though the Blazers are one of my favorite teams. But, you know, the Blazers probably right now, given the way the Raptors are playing. But Ben Rogers plays big like Carlos Rogers. Hey, I play like a very, like I got nice cardio and stuff, but I play like a very, very unathletic guy. Ever since I tore my ACL, I just don't jump. I run a lot. I'm pretty quick, but I do no acrobatic finishes. But you know, I'd be throwing my body around in the lane. I want Ibaka for the trade deadline. Bring him back for the culture. That's what I want to see. But hold up, I just spilled my cup, says V. What's happening? You guys saying Joe's getting cut? That's what the chat was saying. I'm not out here saying that. I think you should get some minutes. Give him some run, Nick Nurse. What are we doing out here? But do the Raptors want Anthony Simons? If we could get him, that would be, I'd love Anthony Simons, but not for Pascal. We need more for Pascal. And Zayzview says, I'm going to be a Heat fan at this point. It'd be tough for me to root for the Miami Heat, even though they do have Kyle Lowry. But, you know, I'm jumping on the bandwagon, the Mavs for sure. I always jump on them for the Western Conference. I like the Nuggets. I like the Blazers. I like Giannis. I do like Giannis. So even though I don't like the Bucks as a whole, I do enjoy Giannis winning some games. I like him better than those Celtics and those Sixers and those Brooklyn Nets, for goodness gracious. So, The Bucks are probably my favorite upper echelon Eastern Conference team right now. I probably root for the Bulls too, especially if Lonzo comes back. DeMar DeRozan's obviously a GOAT. Got DeMar's picture still up here, up behind me. But, Zane Khan is saying we should trade for Trae Young. If we can get him, if we can bring in Trae Young, that would be a cool pickup. But I was joking on the Heat thing. You guys don't kill me on that. Zay's view, we won't kill you. We get the jokes. I wouldn't hate on you for jumping ship just for the season, Obviously, the Raptors will always be number one. But you got to have a second favorite team, right? You got to have a second favorite team when your favorite team is losing. So trade Pascal, trade Freddie, says Romo, the truth seeker. What's Sam? But what would it take to get Simons from the Blazers? I feel like OG would definitely have to be in a package. I think a report came out that the Blazers have essentially kept him out of trade talks. So I think OG would have to be in that. Maybe even Siakam, but that's tough. Anthony Simons is good, but he's overrated. He's a volume shooter right now that can't play defense. He has a long way to go before he's valuable. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I wouldn't give up probably the asking price to get Anthony Simons, but we could get him. I'd like him on the roster. And 185, 261 is saying that McGill is the best school on the planet Earth. Let's go. Rep McGill. Get that McGill alumni is out here rocking. But we'd love to have Kyle back. His plays are so amazing. Do you remember his final shot OG made against Celtics? He made Tyler look like MJ. Hey, I love me some Kyle Lowry. But $30 million, that's tough. But it could be a help for the tank. My second favorite team is the Grizzlies because of Ja Morant. That's true. I'd be rooting for the Grizzlies. There's a lot of teams in the West that I very much enjoy. The Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Mavericks, the Pelicans, right? Those are all teams that I don't mind coming out there to the West. As long as the Clippers don't make it. That's all I'm saying. Heck, even the Warriors. I'll take that over the LA Clippers. Tube Dude is saying nobody's getting traded. I don't know. Every single report is saying that a move is going down. So I'd be shocked if a deal didn't end up happening. But I feel like some of you know nothing about basketball. It's like explaining math to a dog. No basketball IQ in these comments. Carl's out here roasting people. Who's he roasting? I don't know. But why would we trade for a 37-year-old? Who's saying we should trade for CP3? That's wild. All right. Anane is saying that trade Fred VanVleet for Chris Paul on the pick. He could be a great trade chip next season. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be a trade chip. I don't know if his value is going to go up in the future, just given his age. That's a tough one. But Simmons isn't bad. Just needs to be more consistent. Fair. But that's not happening. Which one? Scotty Barnes is a nice duo to bet on for the future. Oh, Simmons Barnes. Are we talking Anthony Simons or Ben Simmons? I'm assuming Anthony Simons. But Simmons would average 30 points per game easily if not playing next to Dame. Lillard's holding him back in development and stardom. Would you trade Simmons for Siakam straight up? Definitely not trading that straight up, but I don't completely disagree with you in terms of, like, he's very underrated because he's playing not his true position with Damian Lillard there. But the Clippers seriously need help with a backup center and a pass-first point guard. Hey, Malachi Flynn, pass-first point guard. Give us Kawhi back. That's what I'm saying. But let's trade everybody but Scotty and Gary Trent. I don't want to trade Siakam. I don't want to trade OG. But again, like, I'm not out here begging for our guys to be dealt, but a trade needs to happen, and one of those guys have to be moved. They have to be moved. The deal has to go down. I'm just mentally doing mental gymnastics and trying to find a way to acquire a star without having to give up any of our guys. I know it's not happening, especially in these post-game reactions. They're not fully broken down, fully thought out, but, that's what we're here for. High energy, high fun levels of Raptors fandom. That's what we deliver here at the Raptors Digest. No worries. Shouting out McGill, spot of spots. Get some pizza bros, live some. I'll see you guys at Gertz. But do you guys agree? Dylan Brooks is the most hated player RN. I'm not a hater of Dylan Brooks. Honestly, I was looking at it. He's a free agent this summer. The Grizzlies, they will probably bring him back, but he'd be a guy I'd like to see on the Toronto Raptors. The Grizzlies don't want to fork over a big paycheck. So, what will it take for him to want to blow this up? More else, Jason Choi. More else. Or are you talking about me? Like, I don't know. If we blow it up, I'm at this point, my hand, my health. You know, I've had enough of these Raptors therapy sessions out here post games. I am mentally cool with anything going on. My brain, after all these losses, after all the great memories of Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, a lot of guys we have on this team, right? I'm not going to be out here objectively saying blow it up. I'm not out here going to be saying we got to give it all up happening. But whatever happens, happens. I'm feeling good. We've had enough of these Raptors therapy sessions to say, folks, enough of these L's, enough of these ethical tanking performances to, you know, be cool with whatever Masai Ujiri is going to do. And if we can have an elating moment during that NBA draft lottery and get into the top 2 of landing Scoot or Victor Wembanyama, I would feel great. Like that, all the suffering that we've gone through as Raptors fans would end up paying off. But Top Dog saying OG and 3 firsts for Anthony Simons. No way, Jose. No way, Jose Calderon. That's not happening on my turf. OG's my prince. He's not going away. But Siakam for Ingram 1-for-1. That's an interesting deal. Ingram's injuries just scare the heck out of me, so I don't know if I'm doing that, even though he's a bit younger, and you know, some might say he's better. I'm not doing that. But if all the fans were as level-headed as you, man, all respect, hey, I get carried away. I'm not roasting anyone for wanting to do some trades and all that sort of stuff, but you know, we can't be hoping to sell all of our guys 24/7. I backed Pascal Siakam through the lows. I backed Norman Powell through the lows. You know, I'm out here backing sort of Fred VanVleet, not as hard as I did the other guys, but you know, I'm getting roasted out here for that. That's the one thing I think as Raptor fans, we don't need to overreact when players are playing super bad, but you know, moves will be made. That's what's happening. But Masai's only move was bringing in Kawhi in 2019. What are you saying? Never heard, Tay. This dude was out here. As soon as he came in, he flipped Andrea Bargnani for a future first-round pick. One of the worst contracts, one of the worst players at that point in the NBA for like some decent role players and a future first that ended up being a top 10 draft pick in the first round. That's the first move he did. Then he ended up flipping Rudy Gay for Vasquez, for John Selmans, for Patrick Patterson, for Chuck Hayes, and completely shifted around our roster. He's the first GM that kept our stars around on this team, right? He ended up flipping Gravis Vasquez for what became of OG Anunoby in a draft pick that was Norman Powell. Norman Powell was flipped for Gary Trent Jr., right? There was all that. He flipped Amar for Kawhi, as you sort of already brought up. He flipped Jonas for Marc Gasol. That single-handedly that deal really put us over the top. That ended up winning us a chip. Masai Ujiri's legit. He makes some good deals. And he makes a lot of... He's an underrated trader. Like, he's doing his thing. But, Masai traded Melo on Denver for a huge haul. Masai Ujiri knows what he's doing, folks. We all kind of thought that this team would be a lot better, and I get why Masai Ujiri wanted to try it out. So, that's what's happening. And come honor face... Oh my god. Goodness gracious. That's it. You got me with that username, sir. You're trolling as a Celtics fan, I assume, and with your username. I'll blow a golden kazoo for that one. But he's basically saying, Al owns you. We own the Celtics. Al can't own us after that block Siakam had on us. We're ethically tanking. You guys are lucky. We would have slapped you guys if we weren't purposely losing. But all we need is PG and a center. There's no need to plant dynamite on this team all over the court. Yeah, fair enough. Completely agree. But Masai was a genius before the Raptors. True. I guess Ben does not want to trade anyone. He was high for the Raps this season. Top 3 seed, I respect it, but it's clearly an issue with chemistry, system, and front office. Yeah, you know, Nettie, I completely agree. I'm eating my words. I'm still having it on this list. I'm not hiding. I'm not trying to erase history. But, you know, their top 3 seed is looking bad. It looked good for me last season. I said top 4. We were 5th in the East. But this season, it's not looking too good. And I get that a move needs to be made. I know it's ripping the Band-Aid off. Players you're emotionally attached to, you have to get rid of them or to get value back, whether it be in picks, future players. But, you know, it's tough. It's tough to see trades happen when you're investing in guys. But VanVleet invisible tonight, SMH. Hey, Fred VanVleet was doing his thing as a coach on the sideline. But Top Dog is saying, can we just trade all our picks for Lillard and win a quick chip? Hey, you Are we back? Are we back on here? I don't know if we're back. Are we back? Hello? Hello? I don't know if the